Okay, what are we doing here today? Well, a gentleman I'm doing some work for sent me some of these fiber needles that I understand are originally sourced out of the UK. And I put them aside for testing later on. I did actually use one. It works very well. And just about the same time, I got in a shipment of stuff I ordered from, of course, Amazon. I ran out of toothpicks a few weeks back. And I finally remembered to order them, and they came in about the same time as this did. Didn't think much about it until I went to use a toothpick. Open the new package, and I see this. And I said to myself, the diameter of that looks about the same as the diameter of these. I wonder. So I took one, nipped it, stuck it in the reproducer, which it fit. As you can see, there's one in it now. And it played the record. Very low volume. You heard the volume on this was not that high. That's because I do not have a proper thorn needle sharpener. There is a special tool that was devised back in the day for those particular types of needles. They sharpen the point to a nice needle. And when you say phonograph needles, they really are needles. The points are extremely sharp, much more so than you will find on an average toothpick. Because if you put a point like that on a toothpick, people will be stabbing themselves in the gums, and well, you wouldn't be in business very long. So what they do is they kind of blunt the tip a little bit. See that? The tip is blunted. So what you have to do is sharpen that tip until it's extremely pointy and dangerous. Now you have a phonograph needle. It's bamboo. It seems to work. See, what I'm doing here is testing this to see if I can get it to work at all before I go and I spend $100 or whatever it's going to cost me for a thorn needle sharpener. They're not cheap. They're not easy to find. But if that works, that would save me a lot of time and effort. I'd love to use, regular fiber needles, which are bamboo, by the way. Bamboo needles on my records all the time. I have a nipper for bamboo needles right here. The Victor triangular tile bamboo needles. I'm trying to use it to sharpen this. Wasn't working very well. So I'm now down to experimenting with files to get a bit more of a point on it, which is what pointed that piece of needle on there. And it actually worked. I got a little more volume out of it. Look how much dust it pulled out of that record. That was a clean record, too. Fiber needles are good for that. They have a nice, mellow tone. They will not damage your records. However, some tips to using fiber needles. Don't try to use one on a worn record. It's not going to last very long or work very well. A worn record is like sandpaper. It will wear the needle flat in no time at all. So save those for your steel needles. They're good for that, if they'll play even on those. Save those. This is a fairly decent condition one, so it didn't wear the needle out before the end. It just didn't have much volume because I couldn't get the point sharp enough. But I'm working on that, experimenting with that. Because, being that these are bamboo, and they're pretty hard too, I see no reason why these would not function with a sharper tip on there, why these would not function just like any other bamboo needle. Thorn needle type or triangular shaped wedge of bamboo. So, and the other consideration. These types of needles are expensive. I don't know the exact price of these, but when you find the old Victor needles, the triangular ones on eBay or whatever, you're paying $20, $30. It's a lot of money. And of course, they will eventually completely wear out. You can use a fiber needle until there's nothing left to stick out of the reproducer. And then it's done. You can't nip it anymore. Can't shave it sharp anymore. Then you're done. But with toothpicks, I bought 3,000 toothpicks. There's only one container here. I bought 3,000 toothpicks, and they cost like $5 or $6, whatever it was. It wasn't much. So there's enough there, cheap enough that I can play with them and see what happens. I have no idea if anybody else has tried this before. Probably they have, but the idea just kind of occurred to me. And I said, you know what? We're going to do some playing around here and see if I can get these things to make any noise at all. I did. I did. Even with my half-assed point on there, if this was in a quiet room, you wouldn't have any trouble at all hearing that. You know, it's just low volume. But everything else is there. It sounds nice. So I think I'm onto something there, hopefully. If I can locate a bamboo or a thorn needle sharpener. They look entirely different from this. This is for the triangular ones. The other one has a little wheel and a sharpening. You know, it's a totally different idea. And all of this stuff was around back in the teens and 20s and all that. You know, so they're still out there today. They show up on eBay regularly, but they're not cheap. Oh, ouch. They're kind of expensive. So I wanted to make sure that I can get some kind of a noise out of these toothpicks, just screwing around like I am, before I invested any more time and money in it. And since it seems to be working, I will be investing in one of those cutters as soon as I find one. Hopefully not for $100. I expect I'm going to have to pay a little bit, but not that much. For something like this, it's only going to be used periodically. Well, if it works well, I'll use it all the time. That's not true. I'll use it all the time. Because like I said, these needles, you know, you got to cut them down to size. You get 2 needles per stick. And I'm not sure. Maybe I can get more than that if the sharpener will go from a blunt end to a point. I would have to do some experimenting. You know, you can see the points on these. Whoops, don't want to lose that. These are, you know, they're like little pencils that sharpen that. And I'm going to guess that these were probably made using one of those thorn needle sharpeners for the round fiber needles. And these are supposed to be bamboo, I'm told anyway. You can see the point a little better on it. But we'll see how it works out. And have been working on the 102s a little bit more. What did I fix on this? I had to fix something. Well, actually, I fixed a lot on this. This is still in the testing phase. This had all kinds of problems. It had speed problems. It had brake problems. Auto brake problems, don't they all? But, and the reproducer that's on here is not the one that belongs on it. That one's somewhere over here. I'm testing the reproducer. I've been experimenting with that for somebody, and it was horrible when I got it. And it's actually playing really well now. And I did some things to that reproducer that, well, I'll go into it. It's not done yet. I'll go into that at another time. And everything else on this machine now seems to be okay. Brand new spring in there. The whole motor had to be gone through. Everything, it was a mess. Everything was a mess in there. Somebody had been playing with it before me and had screwed things up. And I think they took a hammer to it somewhere. I don't know. But it seems to be doing well now. It's maintaining its speed, even with what I assume is increased drag from a fiber needle. I would imagine that the wooden needle would put more drag on there than the steel one will. I don't know that for sure. I'm just guessing. But it seems to me that it would. But there you go. If you want to do some experimenting of your own. Bamboo toothpicks found on Amazon. And you know what? I did not even specifically order bamboo tooth. I just did a search for toothpicks. This was the cheapest. So, of course, I bought it. And just by chance, apparently they're bamboo too. Probably out of China or something. They're out of bamboo. At least I am assuming. They seem to be. Since they're holding their hardness on a record. I'm assuming that these really are bamboo. You know, when you buy things on Amazon from China, whatever, you don't really always know what you're getting. But I think these probably are bamboo, since that's a common wood over there. That part of the world, so there you go. That's our experiment for the day.